Welcome to Gumball Love. I'm Melissa Ledger, professional relationship coach, creator of Gumball Love and the Back to You Academy. If you're ready to stop the cycle of toxic men, get through the breakup once and for all, and finally get back to you, you are in the right place. This journey is about healing your heart, and you are encouraged to take the pace that is just right for you. In the process, you will build a foundation of confidence and strength that will make you unshakable, I promise. So get ready to level up your mindset and your lifestyle as you awaken the seeds of greatness just waiting to burst into full bloom. Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Gumball Love. I'm your host, Melissa Ledger. Today, I have another special guest. I have Cynthia Kuehn, the Siren Confidential on Instagram. If you haven't heard of her, I've been following Cynthia. I don't even know how long I've been following you, like 2 years maybe. It's been a while.
Yeah, we've been following each other for a while, so I'm super excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here too, because I've been following you from fashion to relationship tips to life hacks, and you are the girl who does it all. And I have you on here because I have followed you, and you have such a beautiful brand. You're so gorgeous, yet you have been such a sweet, loving, you can just tell I could just hang out with you. And I just love that you're so real and down to earth, and that you love animals. And so your heart really comes through your brand, even though you look so beautiful and perfect. So yes, that's why you're here for sure. Because I just love your whole vibe through your whole Instagram, and you've been so consistent, and so I just can't wait. I've been wanting to ask you all kinds of questions for a long time.
So what a welcome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you are give everybody a little bit of background on your story. You left corporate America and you started this Instagram brand, which looks beautiful now, but give everybody an idea of kind of how that started and how you came to be the Siren Confidential.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll give you the whole spiel. So I am a Southern California-based lifestyle blogger turned female empowerment coach. So I actually came from a medical sales background and started the Siren Confidential blog as more of a creative outlet to share my passions of all things fashion and fitness and lifestyle and life hacks, as you had mentioned. And so I transitioned that into coaching earlier this year. I knew that I wanted to work with females more on a one-to-one basis and have always wanted to transition that into something more meaningful. And so I took that more into the coaching sphere this year. And I'm currently working mostly with entrepreneurs or girls who are wanting to escape their 9-to-5, since that's where I came from. I'm really passionate about that. But I also work with tons of women from all different kinds of backgrounds to get out of their own way and to step into the best versions of themselves in life and business.
I love it. And I was listening to your testimonials on your Instagram page. So you're the Siren Confidential, SIREN, right? Confidential on Instagram. Yeah. And I loved your testimonials because I know a lot of us, I was relating to so many of these women where they come to you and they feel like they're all over the place. They're disorganized, whether they are entrepreneurs or they're just kind of, we're managing so many things. And so I know that you really help people first just set goals and get them kind of straightened out. So I just have questions on how I kind of feel like Hot Mess Express right now, where it's just, there's just so many things. I was telling one of my clients, she does organization stuff for her side hustle. And she's like, I was thinking about different topics, and I was telling her, look at all the stuff that's on my desk. I gave her all the categories of things on my desk, and it's just you feel like you're running ragged. So what would you say to somebody just right off the bat, quick goal setting tips? I know you're so good at just cutting to the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. I love goal setting. That is one thing that I feel like I excel in. So just a few quick tips. I love to set goals every 90 days. And this is how I teach my coaching clients to set goals as well. So every 90 days, I will look at my goals and kind of redefine where I'm at with things. I'll look at where I'm at with my fitness, where I'm at with my relationships, where I'm at with my career. And from there, I will actually pick 2 goals. I'll pick one in business and one in personal. Mm-hmm. And from there, I will actually brainstorm 10 different things that I can do to get to each of those goals. And I think that you follow Chalene Johnson as well. So I really love her push journal. This really helps to kind of keep me organized with those goals. Mm-hmm. And so that's that I also use every single day to kind of help me keep aligned to those goals. But I will work the next 90 days on those 2 goals and just really creating a breakthrough and getting to those goals, because I think it usually takes about 60 to 90 days to really hit the goals if they're lofty enough. Mm-hmm. And so those are, that's kind of what I do every 90 days. And then I also love what's called the Ivy Lee method. I don't know if you've heard of that.
What method?
It's called the Ivy Lee method.
Oh, Ivy Lee. No, I haven't heard it.
Yeah. So what that is basically, and you can define it a few different ways, but what I do is I will actually, before I go to bed every single night, I will write down 6 things that I need to do the first thing in the morning to get me to my goal, my goal the next day. And so before I do anything else, before I go on social media, before I turn on notifications or anything like that on my phone, I will actually do and just all time batch, and I will work through those things, those 6 things to get those done before I do anything else. And I really feel like that has been super efficient for me in getting to those 2 goals that I had set, for those 90 days. So I love the Ivy Lee method. I just think it's super efficient and just a great way to get the most important things done first thing in the morning.
Okay. So you take 2 goals in like your 2 major areas. So if it's like business and fitness, so you take those 2, and then you said you write down 10 things in each category that will help you get to those 2 big goals.
Yes. Okay. I do that. Yeah, I do that every quarter. So I'll set one business goal and one personal goal. So that could be with relationships. That could be, something else, but it has to be one business and one personal goal. And then under those every quarter, I will brainstorm 10 different things that I can do to get to those goals. So that just kind of keeps me on track throughout the quarter and gives me ideas, throughout the weeks of things that I can do to get to those goals.
So it's like two categories, business, personal, 10 things that I'm breaking this down. So it's like 2, then 10, then 6. So every night write down 6 things that are that are at the top of your to-do list to contribute to those, like the 10 majors under the 2. So you have 2 categories, 10 goals under those categories, and then the 6 things you need to do every single day to contribute to those 2. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the 6 things can be really small things. It could be making a call. It could be posting on Upwork to outsource your community engagement or things to get off of your plate. So it's just, those are like really small steps that I'm doing every day to get to my 2 major goals. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You got it.
Okay. So I want to take a step back, because how did you learn this from, you were in corporate America, you were unhappy. We were talking before we hit the record that you were, like corporate America was basically like every part of it was rejecting. You were like, this is not a fit. Talk to us about that. Like, how did you go from corporate America to knowing that this was the fit for you? Or how did it come to this level?
Yeah, I started off in corporate America. I first started off working actually at Office Depot for the business development side of corporate, or in Office Depot. And so I started there. And then the past two jobs after that were in medical device sales. And I literally got fired from all 3 jobs after, I had been doing those for, I guess, 14 years cumulatively. And so the last time was my dental device sales back in 2016. And I just thought, you know what? The universe is clearly telling me that I'm meant to do something else. And I always think of taking everything that happens and looking at it as a learning lesson. And I just thought, you know what? This is just too crazy that this has now happened 3 times. Like, what is the universe
How
telling
did
me?
it happen? I can't even imagine anyone firing you. Like, what was the thing that wasn't the fit?
Yeah. So the first time it was actually something stupid that happened at Office Depot. It was just something I had actually had personal things that were on my computer that I shouldn't have had on there that were sent in. But the last 2 were just not hitting sales goals. They were actually pretty astronomical sales goals. And so I would hit my goals the first couple years, and then they would keep raising my goals. And then I was just on this like endless hamster wheel of trying to hit those goals. And I think finally, at both of those jobs the last few years, I finally was just kind of, I think, stopped working as hard. And I kind of, knew especially with this last one with the dental sales job, that I had already seen the end of that road. And I knew that corporate America was not for me. I've always been a little bit rebellious and wanted to pave my own path and blaze my own trail anyway. And so I, back in 2015, had kind of saw the end of the tunnel coming with that. And I started the Siren Confidential blog because I knew that I wanted to turn that into something where I could connect with women and, start making money with that in a certain way, but I didn't know what it was going to look like. And so
Okay. So why Siren Confidential? I'm just curious. Like, okay. So I completely understand how you can feel like a job is just, it's like every fiber in your being is just like not connecting to it. And you're just like, this is not for me. So what made you think, okay, I'm going to start a blog? Like, how did that even come to your mind?
The Siren Confidential was more of a way to just have a creative outlet for me, a way to talk about like my fitness hacks and my love for fashion and travel. And kind of, I say it was a one-way ticket into my life and a way to share my passions and life hacks with other girls. And I didn't really know where it was going to go when I first started, to be honest. I just started it as a creative outlet and let it kind of take its course from there. So
while you were doing corporate America, you still had all these passions, fashion, fitness, lifestyle. So, because for those people that don't know you, it's like you are always finding the coolest things, whether it's makeup, whether it's travel. Like I just saw your travel pouches of putting things in these pouches to put in your suitcase. And I was like, oh, this is like brilliant stuff. I mean, so were you always doing that? Were you always like, looking for because you have such a natural fashion, I don't know, to skill, talent, ability. This is something I don't have at all. Like I need all the help in the world for fashion. So were you like doing this stuff on the side, and is it just naturally like I'll give you an example. I always tell my girls, like in every notebook, doesn't matter what, if it's work, personal, there's always like Gumball Love notes in there or something. Like I'll think of stuff all the time and I'll be making notes. So it'll be like stuff about banking, and then there's Gumball Love stuff. And they're like, even if it's just one line, I'll think of something. So was this always like bubbling under the surface for you?
These things are things that I've always loved, and I love sharing with other women. I think that, sharing is caring and empowering other women. That's something that I've always loved doing. So it's something that I've been doing behind the scenes, but just something that I wasn't sharing, and I didn't get to share in the corporate environment. And so, like I said, it was just more of a creative outlet. It was just a way for me to be able to come more public with the things that I loved and be able to share those on a bigger platform and in a more meaningful way with my audience. So
when did you start? When was your first blog post?
Oh gosh, I started back at the end, I think it was October of 2015 was when I first started the Siren Confidential, and started off not knowing anything about how to blog or anything about Instagram or anything about anything. I've just always been, I guess, self-taught. And so I took a few different Instagram courses from friends that had already started, and just really started looking at other people and kind of what they were doing and learning from there. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Because you've built a huge following. I mean, that's not easy to do. So you caught on quickly. I mean, did it just feel natural to you? Did you just feel like, oh my gosh, this is taking off? Or what was 2015, 2016? What was that journey like for you in the very beginning?
Yeah, well, and to be honest, in 2015 and 2016, it was a lot easier to grow on Instagram back then. I think before all the algorithm changes.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of just started. I always say start and figure things out. Say yes and figure things out. That's kind of my motto.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's exactly what I did. I just started posting. I just started sharing things that I loved and connecting with other women. I think that's a huge part of social media, is really becoming interested in other people. And so that's how I really built my brand, was becoming interested in other girls on the platform and, leaving them comments and getting engaged with them. And that's still the same thing I do with all of my readers today. I think a lot of it is investing in other people and, them knowing that you are, I guess, interested in their lives. And that comes back to you 100%. So, to I guess come back to your question, it's just been something that I figured out along the way and just take it one step at a time.
That is amazing, because I'm asking you this because I have so many girls that I coach inside the academy or one-on-one, and they get to a point where in their relationships, and I know you talk about relationships as well, that you get to this point where if you've dated the wrong guys a lot and you have somewhat lost your identity, when you've been criticized or questioned. I don't know. We've never talked about relationships, you and I, just one-on-one, but you have such a unique style that's yours, so I'm curious, was that difficult for you to break out because of past relationships, or how did past relationships affect your ability to build your business?
Yeah, I don't think that they've affected me. Most of the relationships that I've had have been pretty supportive. And so I've been lucky in that way. Mm-hmm. And if I am dating somebody that's not supportive or whatever, that's just not something that belongs in my life. I have a very, I guess, healthy, I'm lucky to have a very high level of self-confidence. And so, right now, and I've kind of always been like this, I know and can identify if somebody's not going to fit into my life. I bless and release that right away. And so I want to
love that, bless and release.
Bless and release. And I still do this with friendships. I think we're always constantly evolving and changing. And so, I'm always constantly looking at my friendships and my relationships. And is this fully supportive of me? Is this relationship fully supportive of me and something that is helping me be the best version of myself? And if it's not, you've just got to let it go. And so I guess I'm always just looking at those relationships and constantly evaluating those and bringing in new friendships that are going to support me and letting go of some that don't, if that's the case at that certain time. So.
Okay. So this brings us, that's a good, this is another topic that's coming up, is boundaries. So how do you make that assessment when it's what are your signals if somebody is in a friendship or a relationship that you're like, okay, this is time to bless and release. I love it. When do you know it's starting to become time to evaluate it? Or do you have a process or a way you think about it where it's okay, this is encroaching in this area or that area, or what are your signals? Because a lot of girls, we don't have this built into us, and we just, or we reject it. It's hard to put up boundaries and keep them.
Yeah. I think for me, and we're intuitive as females, right? So for me, is somebody making me want to be the best version of myself, and vice versa? Am I making them want to be the most high vibe, best version of themselves? And if I'm finding that somebody's having negative energy or bringing me down, or I'm constantly feeling I'm just getting that feeling in the pit of my stomach when I'm around somebody, I put up boundaries around them. And it's not something where you have to completely be a jerk and, stop communicating with somebody. There's a nice way to, kind of build boundaries around that, where you don't get back to them as much, as fast as you did, or you become busy, or like what I'm trying to say with your brand and what I love is that what you teach is becoming busy. And so you can incorporate that into, I guess, the boundaries with people. So when, so it's not in like not such a negative fashion where you are busy and, you're getting back to people at like maybe a little bit slower pace, but you're busy. So you're not doing that in a negative. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of times the boundary isn't necessarily something we have to set, but it's like we're slowing down for that person, or we're actually letting them talk to us on the phone this is my big thing. Like I'll stay on the phone too long. I will stay and talk to somebody about their dog for too long and they don't care about me at all. Like this is the worst thing for me. Like I love to connect with people, but I'm always telling myself, Melissa, okay, this person is not actually connecting with you, and they'll tell you about their dog for an hour and a half and then they'll walk away and they'll never talk to you again. And that makes me mad. I'm like, why don't you connect with me right now? I'm so great. We're having such a nice conversation, but I can see the difference. And so I have to just like cut myself loose sometimes. So sometimes the boundary is managing yourself. And then I'll realize too, well, now you have forsaked your responsibilities, the things that you have to do. Like I would just stop everything for people. And then I would miss a deadline sometimes or make myself stressed out because I'm making time for all these other people that really I shouldn't be. And so, yeah, a lot of times like setting the boundary is really engaging ourselves. So yes, we need to be busy, but we're also, I feel like when we're giving the wrong people the wrong amount of time, that's when we're taking the focus off of what we're supposed to be doing, which gets back to how you talked about how you set goals. And it's like, is this contributing to where I'm going? Because like, I look at all the people you serve, the people I serve, and this is how I think of it. Like, if this person is taking away from my ability to serve the people that I feel like I'm called on this earth to serve, that's when I go, okay, this person, I love them, but they're going to prevent me from helping so many other people that will actually receive what I have to give.
I love that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I love the way that you explain that. And yeah, it is true, just setting those boundaries and, having that up front. And you're exactly right what you're saying about if they're calling you away from who you're needing to serve, that's a good time to step away and look at that and figure out how to get tighter boundaries around that for yourself. So I love that.
Yes. And you and I had talked about how this kind of goes right into mindfulness. And I know this is something you coach around, how we are overcommitting and how to stop being a yes woman. Do you find that a lot of your clients are saying yes to too many things?
Yeah. And I feel like as women, we tend to do that. We want to be able to say yes to everything, but that is just not possible. And that holds a lot of people back. So there's 3 facets to that I always talk about with my coaching clients. 1 is acknowledge that we can't do everything. 2, define your personal boundaries. And 3, identify your priorities. So for me, I'm always thinking, does this feel good? Does this honor me? And so those are like the 2 things that I'm always thinking of around boundaries. Mm-hmm. And one tip that I will give you and your audience, which I love to do if you're put on the spot, when, if somebody's asking you something, this is just something that I do, because you're always getting those invites when you're out and about, and I feel like we always feel like we need to say yes, or we say yes and then we later regret saying yes, and we don't know how to get back to that person and, kindly say no. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I've learned that's very important around that is I'll say something like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for thinking of me. Let me check my calendar and get back with you. So that gives you like the pause to check your calendar, think about if it's something that you want to do. Does it honor you? Does it feel good? Does it fit into your schedule or what you want to be doing? And then get back to that person later.
Yeah, just the pause. It's like, okay, I think just taking that time is key and not feeling like you have to agree right away. Mm-hmm. That's a huge tip, actually. It sounds simple, but it's a big deal for those of us that want to, yeah, okay, sure, I'll do that. Like, yeah, let me check my calendar. Let me get back to you. What's your email? I always follow it up with what's a way to contact you. And you know what? The busier you get, the more this becomes evident, as I missed our interview this past weekend. Seriously, like I am so dependent on my calendar now. And it's a reality. Before I used to know exactly what was on my calendar, but now I depend on it every single day. And so I actually do have to check my calendar and make I have two calendars, that one for my full-time job, one for Gumball Love and personal stuff. And so life does become busy where you actually can't just fit people in when you start prioritizing your own life. So yeah, it's interesting. I've never thought of priorities and boundaries in the same conversation, but it's so true. If we're not prioritizing ourselves, that's when our boundaries are weak. So
yeah, exactly. They go hand in hand. So it's just important to keep those up front and always kind of reevaluating what your priorities are and just honoring where you are in your space and what feels good to you. So, but yeah, I definitely love that little hack too. It's definitely helped me so much when I've been out and feel like before I would have said, yes, yeah, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then, I walk away and just regret saying that and have to get back to the person later and feel like a jerk. So yeah.
So in that vein, you give a lot of time management hacks. How can we manage our time better? What have you discovered in all of the content you deliver? Because literally, you guys, if you're not following her, like every time I open your stories, it's just like, oh my gosh, why can't I have everything you're doing? And I want all of the things that you're talking about. It's like, I have to watch my Amazon Prime purchases with you because I want all of the things. So what do you feel like has been your best time management? Like how to feel like you're doing it all, yet really doing the things that are the most important, or how do we manage our time in the most effective way?
Oh gosh, I love talking about time management. So I feel like it's a struggle for everyone, and we're always evolving and trying to get better at it. But so one of the things that I have found that has been so useful for me is time batching. I don't know if you do this, but I do this when I do my first 6 things in the morning. I actually do this all day, but it is putting my phone on airplane mode and just working through whatever task that I have in front of me. So I will work through that entire task, not look at my phone. I don't have the notifications coming up. And that's been super helpful for me as far as just getting so much more stuff done during a specific time period and not getting sidetracked with the notifications or dings or bells or whistles or whatever you have. And
I love that. I'm literally getting a notepad now. Sorry, I'm like banging around. I got to get my notepad and pen. Airplane mode, and then focus on a task.
Yeah, just work all the way through.
That's a huge thing because the distractions, like, okay, so is there any other thing that you realize distracts you? If you're in airplane mode, does that do it? Or do you do anything else other than airplane mode?
Work in a quiet environment. So I am still I'm still working on this myself because I love working at coffee shops, but there are specific coffee shops or places that I'll go that I feel that I will still get distracted. So, and it's different for everyone. So if you can work in a coffee shop where you're undistracted, that's great. Go for it. If you need to work from home where it's completely peaceful and you've got everything turned off, then if that's your jam, go for it that way. But I say, for me, it's definitely been more helpful and more beneficial for me to actually work in a home environment for the time being where everything is turned off, it's quiet, and I don't have a million different distractions going on. So, yeah.
So you have such a beautiful space as well. Like, what about space and creating organization, that kind of thing? I'll give you my issue. I have all these things on my desk, like bills, expense report. So there's clutter, right? And there's just always this management. I feel like I need to really get my arms around how to manage this, like, because it's, I've realized I don't have a place for everything. And that's also a problem. Like I'm realizing, like, this is sitting here because you don't actually have a place for it. So do you have any tips around just pulling that stuff together, or any hacks that are things that you do as far as clutter, organization, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I actually, as far as mail goes and bills and things like that, I will actually I'll actually go through my mail once a week. And so I will put it all in a pile. I'll go through everything. That's usually something that I'll do usually on Sundays, Sunday nights I do that, and kind of put all those things in different piles as far as like what I need to do. Is this a bill I need to pay? Is this something that I need to get back to, or does this go into the junk pile? So I love organizing my mail that way. And then as far as other things like emails, I time batch everything. So I time batch my emails too. So I don't think it's effective for us to be on email all day, right? Where we're constantly being diverted from whatever we're doing to answer an email. So that's actually something that I turn off my notifications for email. And I found that that's super helpful too. So in the morning, I will spend half an hour to 45 minutes returning emails. So I feel like you can literally take the time batching thing and apply it to almost every single thing to streamline that to where you're getting that little thing done in a time period where it's not distracting you all week. So does that make sense?
That is great. I love checking mail once a week because it really isn't important. Like I'll take the dogs out and I'll get the mail, and then all of a sudden I'm going through mail, and then I'm walking into the house, and then, then there's email, and then there's text messages, and there's social media. So, okay. So then how do you do social media? Because you're so good at it. Like, I'm like, how does she do this all so well? So do you time batch your Instagram stories, or like, how do you manage creating content, delivering content, answering all those DMs?
Yeah, I'm playing around a little bit with that, where I am going to be staying off social media in the mornings, because I feel like if I come on in the morning, I don't know, for me, I start to scroll and I kind of get distracted. So, I mean, it's going to be different for everyone, but I feel like for me, I like to stay off Instagram in the morning until noon, and I'll go on and kind of do a scroll, maybe, 15, 20 minutes around lunch. And then I usually stay off when I can. Well, I'll pop on, I guess, a few times if I need to do a story or whatever. But as far as actually staying on, I will not come back on until later that afternoon when I'm going to do a post. So if I'm doing a story, like I literally will do the story, post it, and try to get on with my day, where I'm not staying on Instagram that entire time. I'll just do the story, post, and get back to what I was doing before that. And obviously that's going to be different for everyone, but that's what is feeling good to me, is just to stay off Instagram in the morning. So I'm not, I guess, feeling so distracted with that in the morning time. And I can get through my 6 things that I need to get through, and everything that's going to make me feel good in the morning, like meditation and my morning routine and all of that. So,
Okay. So what is your morning routine really quick? Just curious.
So my morning routine, I love to get up early. And I know that you have your 5 o'clock club that you've talked about in the past. I freaking love that, because I feel like if you can get up in the morning, and I know this is not for everyone, but getting up at between 5 and 5:30 is just the ultimate life hack for me, being able to get in a workout. I love to get up and go work out if I can in the morning, whether it's, Pilates or a sculpt yoga class, or sometimes I'll just even take my meditation to the beach and do a little beach walk. So I love to get in a early morning workout, and then I love to come home. I usually will do a coffee. That's part of my morning routine. And then I get into a meditation where I have 5 journaling prompts. So there's 5 journaling prompts that I go through, and I just love to start things out that way. I think that it just really sets the tone for your day when you can get up so early and kind of get all the good juicy stuff in there. So that's how I love to start my day. And I do that before I even step into my first 6 things that I'm going to do that day. That
is a lovely morning. Oh, I have 2 puppies, so it's throwing off my morning game, but I'm starting to get them back on, getting in so where I can actually go to the gym. Before I was like, if I go to the gym, I can't. I had to lock them in the kitchen. So doing a workout in the morning is so great, and getting your mind set. It's so hard to, like, I'll get into streaks where I do this, and then it's so tempting to see those notifications and check the messages, and then then you're like, It's like the Price is Right wheel where you just start spinning and spinning and scrolling. Like, it just feels, and there is the little dopamine rush. You get the notifications, you see comments, you see posts, and then all of a sudden you've thought about 30 different things. And it's almost like, it's like our brain is like a pinball machine where it's just ding, 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 we're just bouncing around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I found for me, that's just, again, for me, some people love to pop on social media the first thing in the morning. I find for me, I'm not as effective when I do that. But, if you love that dopamine rush and you need that, do that, but maybe set it where it's 10 or 15 minutes and then you have a hard stop to get off. So, just a little tip there. And I just have this in my head too, one other time management hack that I wanted to mention, and I will post this in my stories when this episode goes live, is a time blocking cube. I don't know if you've seen me post this before.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Tell everybody about it though.
Yeah, so it's a time blocking cube. It basically has different increments of time on it. So if say you want to work through 45 minutes of emails, you want to work through a half an hour of emails or do something for a certain amount of time, you actually just set the time blocking cube, and it will be when your time's up. So I just work through, that's another little time tip, is to work through that entire batch of time of whatever I'm doing is to use that cube. So
the key for the time blocking cube has to be airplane mode on the phone.
Airplane mode on the phone. Set the thing that you're going to do, get your time blocking cube, and go to town.
Awesome. Okay. So, and then you have Silent Sundays. Tell me about Silent Sundays, because I really think I need to adopt this, but I think it's so brilliant.
So Silent Sundays came from me being, I guess, an extroverted introvert. And I find usually around Saturday, I'm feeling super burnt out on social media. I'm feeling like I just need a Cynthia day and a day to myself to do self-care and reinvigorate myself. And so I will actually let my phone die on Sunday or turn it off completely, because I find if I don't, I will get sucked back into turning on the Instagram or turning on my emails, checking this or that. So I will completely let my phone die or turn it off, and I will just do a day of whatever is calling to my soul, whether that's a hike, whether that's hot yoga, whether that's, connecting with friends, doing a Sunday fun day brunch, whatever is calling to my soul that day, I will do. And I usually don't plan it until the day of, because I really just want to feel into what feels best to me. I just don't have a plan at all. And I just let my day take it, go wherever it needs to go that day.
So your phone is off the whole day. There's no calls, no texts, no social media, zero. That
is the goal. Yes.
Wow. And so everyone knows this about you, like can't call you because you're not going to get through.
It's been a training experience for people, because I started doing it really without making much of an announcement. And of course, family and friends were like, why are you not responding back at first? So obviously you may want to just let people know, hey, by the way, I'm completely turning off, unplugging on Sundays. Won't be answering your messages until at least later that night or, first thing on Monday. So sometimes you've got to train people to get into that if you've been very responsive, or if you're, very responsive with people. But it has definitely been a life-changing tool that I've implemented. So I would recommend for your readers to try that for sure.
Yes. Oh man. I think honestly, I think I'll have to try I'm going to try it this Sunday. I'm actually going to look at what I have scheduled this Sunday and see if I can do it. Cause I will schedule things on Sunday, but you're right. Like this weekend, especially, I noticed how, I was just so tired, and I remember thinking, and the past weekend too, like I'll put all this stuff to do on the weekends. And then I just realize I'm exhausted. Like I need rest. And then I'm trying to get rest. And then I'm just like laying there with the dogs on the couch, just kind of trying to rest my eyes, just feeling guilt. And I was thinking, it's because you've worked all week. You have to give yourself some rest. And so to have that built in is just like, I'm literally looking at my calendar, like, can I do Silent Sunday? I'm already excited because
girls, you can do Silent Sundays. And if you feel like you can't do the entire day, just start with baby steps. So maybe you do it the first time and you take a silent half day Sunday where you just take off the morning and spend all morning with yourself doing things you love, or you do it in the afternoon. I mean, make it work for you, right? So if all day doesn't work for you, just start with what works for you and go from there and see what feels good. Because you may do a half day and be like, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm, ready to come back online, or I'm reconnected. I'm good, so just do what feels for you.
How does it feel like when you wake up Sunday and there's like what, give us like the other side. What's it like on the other side?
You'll see when you try it, but it literally, I think for me, because so much of my life is spent on social media and connecting with people and always having to feel like I'm connected to people and getting back to people, and whether that's through text messages or DMs or emails or whatever, it just feels like, I don't know. It literally is life-changing, and it feels just so good before we had our phones and were connected, that, had to be so connected. It just really makes such a difference. And I feel like when I come back online on Monday, or even if that's late on Sunday nights, I'm just a completely different version of myself, really refreshed and ready to take on the world again.
I know when I look at movies from the 80s, like like I'll say, I just watched the movie Gremlins. Well, part of it, because I couldn't get through the whole thing. And I was thinking, God, this movie's so slow. But then I was thinking, it was just such a different time. We were moving slower. We were thinking slower. And so entertainment really shows you how different our mindsets were. And we could leave the house, and people went on entire vacations without talking to anyone in their family for a week or two. You know what I mean? Like, we will be okay if we're not in constant communication. So even now, isn't it crazy how one day just feels like, okay, I'm really going to try it. But,
not only will you be okay, but you're actually going to be a better version of yourself. At least for me. And I mean, some people love to be connected to social media 24/7. I am not that person. I, again, started just feeling so depleted, and like I had gotten the life sucked out of me by Friday or Saturday, that I just decided, this is a boundary that I've got to implement. This is something that I've got to do for myself to come back on Mondays and feel like I can serve my audience and serve my tribe in the best possible way.
Oh, I love it. I think this is, if not, this whole podcast is just for me. I need this. So hopefully you guys are benefiting.
To your Silent Sunday. So I'm going to be watching this next week.
I know. Now I have accountability. It's like, oh man, it's going to be tough for me, because I am an over communicator, but I really am feeling that, it's like sometimes you feel like you're really being productive, and then there's a shift that's happened for me where now I can see it's counterproductive, and then I don't have the energy to push where I need to push. And so like it's showing up even in my dance lessons, where like I'm getting to more of an advanced level, and I'm like, I want to be able to push more here, but I'm just like, I'm tired. My brain is maxed out, and I'm going in too many different directions and just over consuming too many things. It's like there's only so many thoughts and processes and roads we can go down. You know what I mean? Like I find that it's almost like we're switching lanes all the time when we consume all these different types of content. And then it's like, it's like changing the station. And I feel like that's really where a lot of anxiety is coming from, because we're just not able to even rest our brain for even 5 minutes. I just wonder like how long people are even resting on an average basis. I think I saw a statistic on this where it's like a few minutes, if that, and people are just, on to the next tasks or productivity is just, it's suffering. So then we're stressed that we're not producing. And so it's so necessary.
And it's just, that is an endless cycle. So this is just a huge hack for me, at least. And I think that even just trying that, you'll find that you are much more productive when you take time to rest and recharge and refuel yourself. So I will definitely look forward to hearing how it affects your life and how you can implement it into your Sundays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's awesome. Okay. So shifting gears a little bit, because I noticed you are not a girl that wears black all the time. In fact, you wear a lot of white. You're always so bright and cheerful, which is like hashtag goals for me, because I am, Johnny Cash, Morticia from the Addams Family. And, I do love wearing black, but I find a lot of women are stuck in this where we don't know even where to begin when it comes to fashion. I actually have someone that's specifically focused in fashion that'll be coming on here probably next month. But what is your tip on just how, if I'm like fashion completely, like where I don't have a clue, where would you begin for someone who's stuck in the all black head to toe, and like, where would I just even start? Is it like, this is how like I think like maybe I should wear a different colored scarf. Like that's how I feel like I have to start.
Yeah, I totally get, yeah. So there's a couple of different things that are coming to mind. First of all, I do love getting inspo from, a few different fashion bloggers on Instagram and saving those to a fashion file. But if you're stuck in the all black mode, which by the way, I freaking love all black too, so you're not alone.
Okay. All right.
But I love incorporating pops where you can. So just incorporating maybe a leopard booty for the fall, or a pop of pink somewhere. Maybe that's like a pink puffer jacket or whatnot. And you don't have to go balls to the wall with buying something expensive, like especially if it's something that you are just testing out. I love Amazon, really love Amazon to find like cheap little, things that you can work into your wardrobe. So I'm going to be doing more Amazon hauls on my Instagram page where, because I don't think that fashion should cost a fortune. And so I do love getting things from Amazon that I can incorporate into my wardrobe. And something else that I do as well is I love to have a revolving wardrobe myself. So I'll buy something, sell it on Poshmark, buy something else, sell it on Poshmark. I'll wear it a few times and sell it on Poshmark. So that's just another way that you can.
How does that work? Like you're selling it. So are you paying the shipping? Like I've always been curious. Like, okay, so I put a website up, it's on Poshmark, and then am I responsible for shipping, or how do you make that affordable so it's not costing you more? You know what I'm saying? Like let's say I've paid $20 for an item, do you put it on Poshmark for $20, or how do you do it?
I actually go on because I do have a Poshmark store where I sell a lot of the clothes that I am no longer wearing. But I will go on and look at the actual comps. And so I will more, price mine according to what the other comps have sold for, and do research that way. And then the fees as far as like the shipping and stuff are already, marked on there. But there's also a way, you can go on and make offers on different things, and people are pretty, I feel like people are also wanting to get rid of their stuff and, Marie Kondo their life. And so that's just a great way to be able to go on and kind of keep your wardrobe evolving and not break the bank doing it. And Poshmark as well. So Amazon and Poshmark are like my two BFFs when it comes to fashion and kind of keeping a fresh wardrobe. Okay.
So you say like a booty, or where can I add a pop of color? If let's say I'm black leggings, black top, and where would you, like everyone's wearing leggings, right? Or if you wear pleather leggings, which I love that look. I love anything that's, a patent leather look too. So, but it's like, I get stuck. I mean, literally, Cynthia, every single thing in my closet is almost 100% black. So I'm like desperate to branch out. So
I'm actually going to do an entire Instagram story dedicated just to you this week.
You are my hero.
Pops of color, but for what you're talking about for your black, for the fall, I love a good leopard booty. So I will post a few of my favorites on there for you. But I think leopard's kind of like a neutral that you can work in kind of in different places, whether it's a scarf or a booty or even a jacket. I think it'd be cute for the fall, that you could throw over a basic black outfit to really jazz it up.
Yep.
Or if you want to do like a pop of pink somewhere, like a pink jacket or just a statement shoe. I love jackets and shoes, I guess, to kind of jazz up a wardrobe. Those are kind of like the two things that I'll go to is I do love like a basic tank, basic jeans and things like that. And then I love to spice up my wardrobe through shoes and jackets. So those are like the two places that I would go to, is just looking at different color shoes and different color jackets that you could possibly integrate into your basic black wardrobe.
That's exactly what Peyton Dale said, the stylist that I've been working with over the past year, jackets and shoes. And she said also, like, if you're in a weight loss journey where you're really trying to get fit, that your jacket and your shoes can slim down. You can slim down and you can still wear them. You're not going to be going through a lot of clothing items. So I loved that part too. So yeah. Okay. So I'll have to look at some, it does give you a place to start, like jackets or different shoes, because I'll wear all black shoes. Or, Peyton and I talked about booties where, in New York City, it's unrealistic to wear, like, Carrie Bradshaw, love you, but you were not wearing Manolo Blahniks going through Manhattan, because she would rip up those shoes. The heels would just be done. I mean, you cannot walk around New York City with really like $300 shoes. There's just no way. Or 500, what would you say, 545. So yeah, you cannot be doing that in New York. So yeah, I'm always thinking of like practical yet stylish, but the booties with like the wider heel are perfect for Manhattan and walking around. So, okay.
And on the day this goes live, what I will do is I will actually do an Instagram story for you with some ideas. How about that? That you're coming up with on how they can incorporate these into their basic wardrobe.
Yes. Oh, that'll be awesome. So we could do some tips and tricks from the Siren Confidential. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that will be awesome. I will be so looking forward to that. Okay. So this has been so great, because everything in my podcast is all focused on dating and relationships, but I know you do give some tips. You've done the dating app scene, and you've had some good stories, and it's so great to hear from a woman who has high confidence and that you're able to quickly get those toxic men out of your life. So what are your tips for girls that are out there dating? Because I really wanted this podcast to be helpful for girls that are pulling their lives together, that are recovering from bad relationships. They're like, I don't even know where to begin from managing my time. How do I prioritize my own goals and set those boundaries? And just really, a lot of women are in kind of a refresh stage. So what do you have as far as dating tips as you're coaching your clients? Is there any go-tos that you have?
Well, first of all, let me say this is why I love you and your brand, because you teach stepping into your best life and creating your best life, because I think everything circles around that, and the man comes once you've done that, once you've created your best life and you are creating a life that you love without having the man first. I think that's the first thing. But secondly, some practical dating tips on top of that I love, that I use and will always talk about in my stories and to girls that I'm coaching, is if you are online dating, I think one of the most important things is to get on the phone or a FaceTime call with them as soon as possible, because you can tell so much about their personality, especially if you're on, obviously like on FaceTime, you can tell a lot about just their mannerisms and how they're, how they communicate and their personality just by talking to them on FaceTime. So if you can do that, FaceTime's my number one preferred if you can't do a phone call. And
I have never actually done that. That's pretty incredible, because it's like you're on the spot, you're on camera, like it's go. You can't hide. There's no witty text. So like sometimes you think you're talking to a witty guy and then you realize it took him like 3 hours to come up with that response. Yeah. So yeah.
You can hide behind text, but you cannot hide behind the phone, because you're on. Yeah, you're on, and whatever's coming out is coming out. So you can tell so much about the guy, and just, I think you can even tell chemistry through a phone call.
Oh yeah.
And so FaceTime is number one for me, but a lot of guys, of course, don't want to get on FaceTime, which I get. So if they're a little leery about FaceTime, I will give that a pass, but definitely phone call for me. And if a guy will not get on a phone call with me, that is not a guy that I want to even entertain to go on a date with, because I do not want a text message relationship. I actually am probably, maybe I'm a weirdo in that I love to actually connect with people on the phone and talk to people, but I just think that that's super important. That's something that I want for myself, is somebody that will hop on a phone call with me. And, so that's the number one tip.
I don't think that's weird at all. Like this is what's so weird. It's like, we're not on a dating app to we're not hiring a virtual assistant. I mean, even if you are hiring a virtual assistant, you still need to get on the phone with them. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we're going to be in a romantic relationship where we could spend the rest of our lives together, but let's begin that with silence and weird, awkward, or just speaking to each other. It's almost like we're going to pass notes. I mean, it's just so stupid. Yes. Like, yeah. I mean, it just speaks to their confidence right off the bat.
Yeah. And I feel like some guys, especially if you've met somebody online, want or are just looking for that dopamine hit where they want a texting buddy, or they want that validation that they're getting through messaging. And that's not what I'm personally looking for at this point in my life. Mm-hmm. If you are, that's great, but that's not, I know for me, like, that's not what I want. I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for a man. I'm looking for an alpha man. And so that's like, number one, that's something that I have to have, is getting on the phone with somebody, for sure. And then my second tip for dating is to make the first date super short and sweet. So I like to plan, either, for me, like a coffee date's perfect. 20 or 30 minute coffee date, or if you are meeting for drinks, like maybe just one drink for the person to meet the person the first time. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I love to have something that I'm going to afterwards. So I'll tell the guy, hey, like, I'd love to meet you for a drink on Friday at 5, but just FYI, like, I am meeting some girlfriends at 6 o'clock. Is that cool? And just so they know that you've got, a hard stop of when that you've got to go. A, it leaves the guy wanting more, and B, you've got a boundary. If you don't hit it off, it's not going to be an awkward ending. You have like an escape plan to end the day at the time that you had mentioned. I think that, I love having that thing that you're doing afterwards. So you have that to kind of, I guess,
back on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's good. I like that, planning it in between something else. So you made time, but you're not going to just give them the whole evening. This isn't going to be 2 drinks that turns into 7, that turns into a hookup. This is like, actually, we're going to meet. And do you like me? Great. Like, just to test that initial chemistry. I really like that a lot. Yeah. Having another plan, even if it's not really a plan. It's like, have a fake plan or a real plan.
As an escape strategy. So I love having that. Yeah. And then, do you mind if I share one more tip?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So my last tip is what I call circular dating. So I think a lot of girls get hooked on one guy, or they get their eyes, or, they really get super focused on one guy. And I don't think that serves us. I think it's important to what I call circular date. So that means dating 2 to 3 guys until you become exclusive with that one person. Mm-hmm. And that keeps you busy. That keeps you not focused on texting that one guy, all the time. And I feel like a guy can really feel that energy, that you're out there, that you're really in demand. And so I love having that as well to fall back on, the circular dating, so that you're kind of like spreading your energy out there. And that does not mean sleeping with every guy that you're dating. That just means, keeping your options open until you've decided to commit to that one special man. Mm-hmm.
No, I like that. I've done that before, where then you've got 3 guys texting you instead of one, when it's all in that preliminary stages, and then you don't, because sometimes you get fixated on one guy, and then the reality is you're not actually that into him, but you feel like sometimes we force it because he's the only person that's there. And then when you are continuing to date and try, hey, I'm going to go out with this side, I'm going to go out with that guy. We don't have to do this one at a time. Yeah. And then it allows you to, analyze your feelings for this person. Like, am I really attracted to them? Because then you have other options. And then it also, I remember asking someone, like, when should I stop dating the one guy? I remember being young, like, okay, I'm dating 3 guys at once. Like, how do I know which one? And it was actually my sister. She said, when it pains you to date the others. I was like, ooh, that's good. It's like when it becomes like, oh, I really want to be over here and I'm here, but I'm thinking about that. I mean, you just start to feel it. And then that's when you know, like, okay, this is the person that I actually want to spend all my time with. So
I love that. Yeah, I definitely think that it helps you get clarity around who you need to hone in on. And so I love it for all different reasons, but I love that too. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. So what are you most looking forward to right now, Cynthia? What kind of women do you want to work with right now?
Yeah, I'm currently working just strictly with females, but that can always change in the future. And like I'd mentioned at the beginning, most of the girls that I work with are female entrepreneurs. A lot of the girls that I work with also want to escape the 9-to-5, but I do work with all different kinds of women from different backgrounds. So I'm open to working with different types of, whether it's life or love. So I'm open to different things, but yeah, most of the girls that I do work with are entrepreneurs. That is what I'm passionate about the most, but I'm definitely keeping that open for the time being until I niche down further, possibly in the future.
Okay. So the ideal client for you is I'm a woman entrepreneur. I am in a 9-to-5. I'm trying to get out and build a online business and a brand and manage my time. I think I'm your ideal client. So like manage my time. I mean, it's true. Like this is a whole cottage industry that's really developed in the past, especially in the last 5-6 years. I really feel like so many women are coming into this world and it's not easy. Working from home and managing an online business is not, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. It's a lot of hard work and then it ends up getting overwhelming. And then you're like, how are these people doing it? And you started from, you were like, okay, corporate America said, this is it. And then you just began from that foundation. So that's a huge accomplishment, Cynthia. You should feel very proud of yourself for that. Shows a lot of grit.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I love working with female entrepreneurs and whether they're trying to start a side hustle or get out of their 9-to-5. I love working with a girl who's really wants to escape corporate America. I mean, that's just really where my passion is. But it's because I think that that's like so freeing for me. And I think a lot of girls they see it as this big, oh my gosh, where do I even start? And so those are the girls that I love to work with as far as creating the plan. Okay, you're at point A, you want to get to point Z. How do we get you there? I create a plan for those women to start from point A and get to point Z and do it in really small, actionable steps. And a lot of that's also mindset. So I absolutely love what I'm doing right now and love helping women, get to their end goals that they're looking to reach.
Okay. So just to end this, what would you say your top tips are? Maybe 2 or 3 or 1, whatever comes to your mind, of a girl that's stuck in corporate America right now. She feels detached. She feels like this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, but I have to pay the bills. So what's the first step in pursuing the thing that I love, or maybe I don't even know what that thing is? How would you start with that person?
Yeah, I think finding people that are sparking a fire within you, or somebody that you look up to that you're like, wow, I'd love to do that. Maybe, talking to them or finding out how they started, because I think that we don't need to recreate the wheel on things, right? So we find things that we love, find somebody who's doing it, and find out, basically reverse engineer how we got there. So if you can find somebody that will help you along the way to do that, that's great. Obviously, I would recommend coaching. I think that everybody should have a coach, whether that's for 4 weeks or whether that's for a year, year program. My container is currently 3 months. And so I found that that's what works best for my clients. But I think that you should have a coach to help get you there, get you faster. Of course, if you're resourceful, can you figure it out on your own? Probably. But why spend all that? And why spend a year to 2 years to 3 years figuring out something on your own when you can pay somebody that's already been there, that knows how to get you there, to get you there doctor. It makes sense, right? So
yes, if I could go backwards, I would tell myself, hire a coach sooner than later, because I don't know why we think we can figure all this out by ourselves. But if you've never done it before, then you can't figure it out by yourself. You need help. Trust me, you need help. Yeah. I think that's a great, I mean, coaches are, and I love that it doesn't have to be, sometimes we think of hiring a coach. It doesn't have to be forever. I've had many coaches that were in my life for seasons, and then I got what I needed from that. And then I moved and I used another coach for a different area of their expertise. And then sometimes I've gone back to another coach. So, it's like your journey will dictate where you need to go. But coaches are so key. So awesome.
And I even do, for people that want to, I guess, do a little test drive, I even do what I call strategy calls, which is basically just a 90-minute call where somebody will tell me, here's what I'm looking to do. And all I do is basically bring a quick strategy to get them, a jump start on their goals. So that's another option. If you don't want to commit to, or if you're worried about committing to a coaching program, find somebody that does strategy calls and start there. So.
Yeah. And those can be game changers. Just in 90 minutes, you can just sit there and be like, oh my gosh, everything just changed in this call, because your mindset is stuck in certain places, and bam, all of a sudden you're in a whole different, you're set on a completely different track. And I think back to moments like that and think, man, if I hadn't done that, where would I be now? Wouldn't it be just interesting to see that? Like, what would I be doing had I not done this, or had I not done that? And so, that can be so critical.
I feel like we get stuck in our heads, and sometimes we can't see beyond the next, we can't even see the next step. And you working with somebody, even even on a strategy call, to give you just a few quick actionable ideas that you hadn't even thought of before can be complete game changers. So I love them. Yeah. And I love what you said as well.
Okay. So what's the best way to get in touch with you if I want to book a strategy call, or I want to check out your coaching programs, or I want to make sure that I'm getting the what if I'm wearing all black stories? Where can we find you?
Yeah. So I do most of my stuff on Instagram at the Siren Confidential. You can also connect with me on my blog at www.thesirenconfidential.com and check me out there. I do a lot of my stuff on stories and behind the scenes and all that kind of good stuff. So those are the top two ways to reach me.
Awesome. And we will put all of this in the show notes, so you can see it in the show notes, or if you go to gumballove.com, all the podcasts get posted there, and all of Cynthia's information will be in those notes as well. So if I feel like sometimes in our phones, like, where are these show notes? So Siren Confidential, gumballove.com. Either way, you can see, you can find Cynthia will have all of her information posted. So, I'm so glad that we got a chance to connect, Cynthia. This has been, and I have to give a shout out to Ellie Parvin, who I think really connected the both of us.
Yeah, she is super sweet. Yeah, that's exactly where I found you. So she is just such a people connector, so sweet. So I'm glad that she was able to connect us. And I feel like Instagram these days is just such a crazy world, how we find people and connect and through the same people. So I'm super grateful for her and allowing her to connect us as well. So it's been so fun being on your podcast, and thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah. And we didn't even hear one meow from Shiz, right? You have to say the name of your cat. Say your full name.
Yasmin Foshizel. No, she's behind me she's like in a deep sleep right now. So I'll definitely put her on my stories as well, so everybody can check her out.
Wait, Yasmin, say the last part.
Yasmin Foshizel.
Shows I can't say it. Show Sizzlin.
Faux Shizzle-lin.
Oh, Faux Shizzle-lin.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, how did you come up with that? I have to know.
So her name started off as Yasmin, and then Faux Shizzle came from Snoop Dogg, I think. So I was like, Yasmin Faux Shizzle, it's cute. And then Len is my middle name. So I was like, oh, Yasmin Faux Shizzle-lin, that would be cute. And then I just shortened it to Shiz, because obviously that got to be a mouthful. So it just got shortened down to Shiz. Yeah.
So now she's Yasmin Foshizel-in when she's like in trouble. I'm going to have to practice saying that.
Yeah, when she's in trouble, she knows. But it's so funny. I always poll people and ask them what they want to see of more on my stories. And I think the last 5 responses, people have said, I want to see more shiz on your stories. So I'm like, all right. So she's making more frequent appearances on my stories these days.
I know, pets are such connectors. They really are. I mean, I follow people like Walter Jeffrey, the Frenchie. I follow that dog, and it's basically the same, very similar things, but I'm equally interested in all animal posts. So yeah, I love cats, dogs, any kind of an animal, really. I follow all kinds of wildlife rescue, and yeah.
Me too. I'm like, I'm a total animal lover too. So I am with you on that. We could not live without our pets, can we?
No, we can't. And yours, Shiz, it's like a Himalayan, right?
She's actually a ragdoll. So she is, she's 15, but she is she's my little purebred, I think she's a Blue Point or Steel Point ragdoll. So
I've never even heard that. Ragdoll? That's a breed of a dog or a cat?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's, I don't know. I forget what they're a mix of. I think it's a mix between Siamese and a Himalayan.
Okay.
But they're like the best of, I guess, the breeds because their eyes don't water, their noses don't water. They don't get like that, the goopy eyes. And then because of the way their faces are shaped. Mm-hmm. So she is my little love fuzzball.
Oh, so cute. I love it. Thank you so much for taking this time, Cynthia. This has been such a pleasure. I literally took notes through this whole time because everything you're saying there's so many gems. So, I know everyone will reach out to you. I'm so excited for your stories that you'll be posting. So everyone will be giving you lots of shout outs.
I will make it super fun. I'm going to put some good juicy stuff on the day that this goes live. So I'm super excited. And thank you so much for having me on again.
Absolutely. Anytime. You're welcome back anytime. So thanks again, Cynthia. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more information or to schedule a private coaching session, or better yet, to join the next Back to You Academy, go to gumballlove.com. If you loved this podcast, I would love for you to share it with your friends. And if you really loved it, a 5-star review is the best compliment you can give. Remember, you are enough, you are right where you should be, and the only thing you have to do is keep going. I'll leave you with my favorite quote by Henry David Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you have imagined. Until next time, I'll see you soon.